Thunder groaned over the Duke's castle as if the sky itself wanted to speak. The grand front door stood open, flooded with cold night air. The Duke prepared to step out, confident and unaware. His daughter, Olivia, only 9, ran after him with panic, shaking her voice. "Father, you mustn't leave. Something awful will happen." The Duke paused. Where had a child learned to fear the night like that? Olivia's small hands held onto his coat, desperate. She had dreamed of a dark figure, waiting. She had seen the future, and it terrified her. The Duke thought he controlled his destiny. He had no idea destiny was already stalking him just beyond the gate. Thank you for sticking around with me, my wonderful story family. If you're already hooked in for today's story and ready to enjoy it, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one, and you don't want to miss it. Now let us begin. Cold wind blew across the castle balcony as Duke Alexander slipped on his coat, ready to leave for a late meeting with his friend Richard. The moon was bright, but the night felt strange. Too quiet, too dark. He walked slowly through the grand hallway. Paintings of his ancestors stared down like silent guards. His footsteps echoed. Then a small voice cried out, "Father, please don't go tonight." He turned and saw Olivia, his 9-year-old daughter, running barefoot toward him. Her face was pale. Fear shook her small hands. Alexander knelt. "Olivia, what is it?" "I had a dream." Her voice trembled. "Something bad will happen to you if you go out. Please, Father, stay home." He smiled gently at her. Dreams can feel real, but they are not. Tears filled her eyes. She grabbed his coat tighter than ever. "Father, I saw your horse come back without you, and there was blood. So much blood." The Duke froze. Olivia was a sweet, bright child, but she rarely cried. She rarely begged. Catherine rushed forward and pulled Olivia into her arms. "Darling, it was just a nightmare. Let your father go. He will be fine." Olivia shook her head wildly. "No, please believe me. Please don't go." Her voice echoed through the long halls. A sudden loud knock hit the castle doors. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone froze. The maid hurried to open the door. A messenger stumbled inside, panting. His clothes were muddy and torn. "My lord," he gasped, "please stay inside tonight. There are men waiting on the road. Armed men. They are looking for you." The Duke's heart pounded. Olivia was right. Her nightmare was becoming real. She clung to him tighter. "I don't want to lose you," she whispered. The Duke didn't know whether to feel shocked or afraid. What danger waited outside his gates? Who wanted him gone? And how did Olivia know? Quick question. If your child warned you about danger, would you stay home or still go out? Comment below what you think. The Duke carried Olivia in his arms, her tiny fingers trembling as they clutched his shirt. Catherine guided them back into the warmth of the castle, closing the heavy doors tightly behind them. Outside, the wind howled like an angry beast, scratching to get in. Alexander sat Olivia down gently on a sofa. He cupped her face. "My brave girl, tell me everything you saw." Olivia wiped her eyes and tried to breathe normally. "In my dream, you were on your horse. You looked happy, smiling like always. But then, men appeared from the trees. They grabbed you." Her voice broke. "You fell. I screamed your name, but you couldn't hear me." Alexander exchanged a worried look with Catherine. Olivia had been having these strange dreams for months, dreams that often came true. Small things at first. Rain coming on a sunny day, the exact time a servant would knock. Catherine always brushed it off as a child's imagination. But Alexander remembered something. When Olivia was only a baby, a wise woman from a far village once said, "This child sees beyond what the eyes can see." At the time, they all laughed. Now the laughter felt very far away. Richard soon arrived at the castle, pushing the doors open with a sense of urgency. "Alexander," he called, "I came as fast as I could. The roads are dangerous tonight." He looked at Olivia and lowered his voice. "I heard someone has set a price on your head." Catherine gasped and held Olivia close. Alexander frowned. "Who would dare threaten me?" Richard hesitated. "There are whispers that someone close to you might be involved, someone who wants your title, your power." The Duke stared hard into his friend's eyes. "You think one of my own people wants me dead?" Richard nodded slightly. "No one outside the castle walls should know your route tonight." Yet they knew exactly where to wait. Suspicion crawled up Alexander's spine. Olivia suddenly tugged his sleeve. "There was another thing in my dream," she whispered. "I saw a face, someone I know." Alexander leaned in, his heart pounding. "Who, Olivia?" She looked toward the dark hallway leading deeper into the castle. "The bad man is here inside our home." Every candle seemed to flicker at once. The castle's long hall stretched into a chilling shadow. Danger was already inside. The tension is rising. Someone inside the castle is a traitor, and someone wants the Duke gone forever. Night deepened around the castle like a heavy blanket of fear. Guards doubled their patrol, and every window was locked. Still, the air tasted like danger. Alexander lifted Olivia into his arms again. "Show me," he whispered. "Whose face did you see?" Olivia hid her face for a moment, scared to say it. Catherine stroked her hair gently. "You can tell us, sweetheart." Olivia pointed at the stairs leading to the west wing. "I saw him there, the man with the silver ring." Alexander blinked. "The silver ring?" Richard's eyes widened. "Alexander, that sounds like Sir Bennet. He has worn his silver ring since the war." Sir Bennet was one of the Duke's most loyal knights, brave, trusted, almost like a brother. Alexander refused to believe it. "He has protected this family for years." Olivia swallowed hard. "In the dream, he smiled at me, but his eyes were cold. He told the bad men to take you away forever." Chills rushed through Alexander. Catherine clapped her hand over her mouth, horrified. Richard stepped closer. "Dream or not, we must check. Trust is worth confirming over regret." The Duke nodded, heart pounding. Two guards joined them as they slowly made their way to the west wing. Every step sounded like thunder in the silence. Near Sir Bennet's chamber, noise came from behind the door. A hushed voice, then another. Alexander motioned for silence. He placed his hand on the door. Voices became clearer. "We will strike tomorrow. The Duke will not escape again." Alexander's breath caught in his throat. Richard's eyes flared with disbelief. Catherine quickly pushed Olivia behind her, shielding her. Then Alexander heard Sir Bennet's voice, smooth, confidence. "His power has lasted too long. By the time the sun rises, I will rule this estate." The world around the Duke seemed to crumble. His friend, his protector, the man he trusted with his life, was plotting against him. Olivia tugged his sleeve, whispering, "Father, please, let's go. They will hurt you." Suddenly, the conversation inside stopped. Footsteps approached the door. Crack! The chamber door swung open with a slam. Sir Bennet stood there, shock flashing across his face. His silver ring gleamed under the torchlight. He saw the Duke. He saw Olivia. He saw the guards. His expression changed from surprise to a cold, deadly smile. "Well, well," Bennet hissed. "You should have listened to your daughter and stayed inside forever." He reached for his sword. Alexander shielded Olivia and shouted, "Guards, arrest him!" Steel clashed and shouts filled the hall. Olivia cried out as Bennet broke through one guard, then another, swinging wildly. Richard grabbed Catherine and Olivia, pulling them back. Sir Bennet escaped into the darkness of the castle. The betrayal was real. The threat was real. The nightmare had already begun. With pleasure, the fear is growing thicker, like a storm cloud ready to burst. Here comes. Guards chased Bennet through the dark passages of the castle. His footsteps echoed like a haunting drumbeat. Olivia held her mother tightly, eyes wide with terror. "Richard," Alexander said, voice heavy with pain, "why would Bennet betray me?" Richard shook his head. "I don't know, but this betrayal has been planned for a long time." Alexander clenched his fists. "He wants my position, my title." Olivia tugged at Catherine's gown. "He wants more than that." They all turned to her. Olivia whispered, "He wants our family gone. All of us." Her voice held so much fear that even Catherine felt her knees weaken. The castle doctor rushed into the hallway. "My lord, one of the guards said Bennet had escaped through the armory. He might be heading toward the secret exit." Alexander inhaled sharply. The secret exit was known to only 5 people in the entire kingdom. Only his closest circle of trust. One of those 5 was Richard. Suspicion stabbed Alexander's thoughts. Richard saw the doubt in the Duke's eyes and stepped back. "You suspect me?" His voice cracked. "Alexander, I warned you first. I came here to protect you." Alexander didn't respond. He couldn't. Betrayal from one friend had already broken him. He didn't know whom to trust anymore. Richard threw his hands up. "Fine. If you believe I am part of this, put me in chains. But I will still protect your family." Olivia's small voice broke the rising tension. "He is not a or zero bad man." She pointed again toward the long hallway. "The bad man went down into the shadows." Alexander swallowed a breath of relief, his trust in Richard recovering, but bruised. They rushed toward the lower chambers of the castle, guided by Olivia's trembling hand. The air grew colder, the torches dimmer. Faint whispers traveled through the stone walls. As they neared the secret exit, they found a guard unconscious, barely breathing. "He struck me," the guard groaned. "He took a horse and rode toward the forest." The door leading outside swayed from the wind. Bennet was already gone. Alexander stared into the thick trees beyond. Shadows danced like figures waiting. "He has allies," Richard muttered. "He always acted alone before, but now—" Catherine squeezed Olivia protectively. "This is not just ambition. This is something darker." Olivia's eyes widened, and she clung to her father. "He will come back, father, and next time he will not miss." Thunder cracked across the sky, rumbling like a warning from the heavens. Alexander lifted his daughter and carried her inside. "We will not run," he said. "We protect our home. We protect each other." Richard nodded. "Every soldier will be armed. No one enters or leaves without your order." Alexander called out to the head guard. "Send a messenger to the king. We need support." Yet in the deepest corner of his heart, he wondered, if Bennet had already planned everything, how much time do they truly have left? Olivia looked at her father again. "There is more," she whispered. "The dream is not finished. The threat is growing, and the darkest twist is waiting ahead." Rain slammed against the castle windows as if the sky itself was warning them. Olivia sat between her parents, shivering not from cold, but from what she hadn't told yet. Alexander knelt before her. "What else did you see, Olivia?" Her lips trembled. "In the dream, after the men took you, a woman was crying. She was calling your name." Catherine held her hand. "Who was she, sweetheart?" Olivia turned slowly, her eyes filled with fear. "You, mother." Catherine froze. Olivia continued, voice cracking. "And behind you, another person stood in the shadows. He touched your shoulder." Richard stepped forward. "Who was it?" Olivia squeezed her eyes shut. Tears fell. It was you, Uncle Richard. Silence crushed the room. Richard's eyes widened with shock. No, Olivia. I would never. Alexander stood and stepped back, heart pounding in his ears. Richard, explain this. Richard shook his head in disbelief. Alexander, you know me. Since childhood we have fought side by side. Catherine stared at Richard, fear rising inside her. Richard raised his hands as guards approached him. You think I want your death? Bennett lied to the killers by using my name. He wants you to suspect me. He wants us to destroy ourselves from the inside. Alexander hesitated. His trust was bleeding. One friend betrayed him already. Could he trust again? Olivia cried harder. Catherine hugged her tightly. Then Olivia whispered a new detail, one that froze every heart in the room. In the dream, the bad men didn't want father first. She pointed at Catherine and herself. They wanted us. They wanted the Duchess and the Princess to make father suffer. Alexander's hand fell to his sword. A new terror filled his eyes. This wasn't about power. This was personal. Richard stepped closer, voice stronger. Alexander, Bennett is not alone. Someone even higher is helping him. Someone who already knows your defenses, your secrets, your family's movements. Alexander clenched his jaw. Who would dare? Richard answered slowly. The King's Council. There are whispers that a noble wants the throne. You are the King's strongest supporter. Removing you means removing the King's strength. Lightning crashed through the sky. Olivia suddenly gasped and grabbed her head. I see something. The dream is coming again. She looked toward the window. Her voice turned small, broken. Father, they are already here. Outside the castle walls, torches appeared, dozens, then hundreds. A full army of traitors waited in the storm. It wasn't just one man, it was a war. What would you do if danger surrounded your home and your child had visions about the future? Comment below. Your answer might save someone's life in the story. Lightning flashed through the sky, lighting the castle walls in sharp white streaks. The sound of marching feet filled the night. Torches burned like angry stars outside the gates. Alexander stood at the window, staring at the approaching army. His fists trembled around his sword. Catherine placed a hand on his shoulder. We must run. Alexander shook his head. If we run, they will hunt us forever. Olivia will never be safe. Richard stepped forward. We can move your family through the hidden tunnel beneath the chapel. It leads to the river. I will hold them back. Alexander looked at him, torn between gratitude and fear. He still did not fully trust him. Olivia pulled her father's coat gently. You are not safe here. Alexander knelt in front of her. My little warrior, you saw the danger before anyone else. Tell me, what should I do? Olivia closed her eyes. Tears escaped through her lashes. In my dream, you tried to fight. She shook her head. But you fell. They hurt you because you stayed. Alexander's heart crumbled like stone under a hammer. Richard spoke urgently. You must choose now. Suddenly, a horn blasted outside. Boom! The main gate shuddered under a heavy strike. Guards shouted. They have a battering ram. They are breaking through. We need more men. Alexander looked around and realized something terrifying. There were not enough soldiers to win this fight. Catherine dropped to her knees beside Olivia. We leave. We protect our child. That is all that matters. Richard pointed toward the back door. Hurry! Alexander helped Catherine gather Olivia into her arms. They ran through dark stone corridors, feet pounding on the ground. The horn blasted again. Boom! The front doors cracked. Screams echoed down the hallways. The traitors burst inside like a flood of hate and fire. Flames caught on curtains. Smoke rolled along the ceiling. Olivia cried, burying her face into Catherine's chest. "I'm scared." Alexander lifted her chin. "You are strong. You will survive this. I promise." Richard led them through a secret wooden door behind the chapel altar. A staircase spiraled down into a narrow tunnel. The air smelled of wet earth and fear. "Go," Richard urged. "I will distract them." Alexander grabbed his hand. "If you betray us, I will know." Richard placed his other hand over his heart. "I swear on my life, Alexander, I am with you, always." He closed the tunnel door behind them. Alexander, Catherine, and Olivia moved through the dark passage, guided only by the faint glow of a torch. Water dripped along the walls. Rats scattered at their steps. Then Olivia suddenly stopped. Alexander turned. "Olivia?" She looked up with wide eyes, her voice tiny. "The dream changed." Catherine knelt and touched her cheek. "What do you see?" Olivia whispered. "They took Mother." Alexander's heart stopped. Olivia's voice cracked. "Father, they will take her. If you leave, if you run now, Mother will not survive." Catherine gasped, fear clutching her throat. The Duke's choice grew heavier than the sky. Run and save Olivia, or turn back and risk losing everything. Tears filled Alexander's eyes. He held his daughter close. "I will never let anything happen to your mother." He stood tall again, his voice turned into iron. "We go back." Catherine grabbed his arm. "No, you must protect Olivia." Alexander shook his head. "A father protects both his queen and his princess." He turned towards the tunnel entrance. Above them, the screams grew louder. The fire grew brighter. The enemy grew stronger. For the first time, Alexander felt fear crush his hope. Everything he loved was slipping through his fingers. Alexander breathed deeply, pushing aside his fear. He looked at Catherine and Olivia with new strength in his eyes. If Bennett and his men want war, then they will face a father fighting for his family. He grabbed Catherine's hands. "You stay with Olivia. No matter what happens, keep her hidden. Do not show the world where she is." Catherine's eyes filled with tears. "I can't let you go alone." Alexander touched her cheek softly. "My love, you married a duke, yes, but you also married a warrior." He kissed Olivia's forehead. "My brave princess, remember what I promised. Our family will survive this." Olivia held his hand tightly. "I believe you, father." Alexander smiled through his pain. "That gives me all the strength I need." He turned and rushed up the stairs, sword humming at his side like lightning waiting to strike. Catherine tried to stand, but her legs shook. Olivia hugged her tightly. "Father will return," Olivia said gently, though her heart pounded loud as a drum. Catherine wiped her tears. "Yes, he will." They moved deeper into the tunnel, trying to reach the river exit. Catherine led the way, but Olivia suddenly pulled back. "Mother, stop." Catherine turned. "What is it?" Olivia placed her small hand on the stone wall. "It's changing. The dream." Her voice shook. "Father doesn't die anymore, but someone else does." Catherine stiffened. "Who?" Olivia looked away, unable to speak. Catherine knelt to her level. "Tell me," Olivia whispered through tears. "You." Catherine's breath caught. "No, no, that dream is wrong." Olivia shook her head slowly. "It always comes true." Catherine grabbed Olivia's shoulders, her voice fierce. "Listen to me. I will live. I will survive. I will not leave you or your father." Suddenly, crash! The tunnel shook as wood splintered above. Voices echoed down the stairs. "They found us!" Olivia gasped. Torchlight flickered above as footsteps clattered down stone steps. Catherine grabbed Olivia's hand. "Run!" They sprinted deeper until the tunnel split into two paths. The air smelled of river mist. Olivia froze again. "This way," she pointed to the left. "I saw it. That leads to the boats." Catherine didn't question. Mother and daughter rushed forward. Meanwhile, at the castle's upper levels, Alexander burst into the grand hall. Flames lit up fallen guards. Smoke curled around pillars like angry spirits. He spotted Richard fighting 3 traitors at once. Richard saw Alexander and shouted, "The east wall is weak. We must push them back there." Alexander joined him, swords clashing, armor scraping, breath burning. With every strike, he remembered Olivia's tears, Catherine's fear, his family's future. He became unstoppable. "We fight for our home," he roared. In the tunnel below, Catherine and Olivia reached the exit. The sound of rushing water greeted them. A small wooden boat floated by the edge. Catherine pushed Olivia inside. "You first." Olivia clutched her mother's hand. "You are coming too." Catherine nodded, but suddenly a shadow moved behind her. A hand grabbed her mouth, a blade pressed to her throat. Catherine's eyes widened in terror. Olivia screamed, "Mother!" The voice behind Catherine whispered coldly, "Your mother stays with me. You go tell the Duke goodbye." Sir Bennet stepped from the shadows, smile sharp as the steel in his hand. Olivia's dream was coming true again. The breakthrough has given hope, but the threat has struck deeper than ever. Catherine's heart rattled like a shutter in a storm when Richard's message flashed on her phone. "I think I know the driver." She stared at her daughter sleeping peacefully, a tiny wrinkle still lining her young brow, and a mother's dread crawled up her spine. Olivia didn't sleep like a child who had a bad dream. She slept like a child who carried knowledge too heavy for her age. Catherine tiptoed out of the room and dialed Richard. "What do you mean?" Her whisper trembled. Richard spoke in a low, urgent tone. "The driver, he wasn't a stranger. He used to work for the palace years ago." He paused, swallowing nervously. "He was fired after a disciplinary issue involving Olivia." Catherine's breath vanished. "You mean he tried?" "Nothing happened," Richard rushed. "You stopped him just in time. The Duke didn't want Olivia to remember anything. He wanted to protect her." Catherine pressed her hand over her mouth, her knees threatening to fold. "So why attack now?" she choked. "That's what I'm trying to figure out," Richard replied. Suddenly the hallway lights flickered. Catherine froze. A shadow passed under the front door, slow and creeping. Then, a sharp knock. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Catherine's blood iced over. She leaned to the peephole and felt her heart collapse like glass. A man stood there. Wet coat, dark smile, eyes that glowed with madness. The same eyes she had seen years ago before the palace guards dragged him away. He lifted his hand, revealing a silver key. The key to the palace. He never lost access. Her voice escaped in a ghostly croak. "It's him," Richard's voice snapped. "Catherine, listen to me. Do not open that door. Guard Olivia. I'm on my way." The handle twitched. Metal squealed. The lock slowly turned. Catherine snatched Olivia's hand and pulled her close. "Mum," Olivia whispered, sleepy and scared. "It's okay, love," Catherine lied, holding her tight. "We stay quiet." The door creaked open, inch by dreadful inch. That voice, the one Catherine prayed she would never hear again, slithered into the hall. "Remember me," Olivia whimpered. The man chuckled. "I remember you." The door drifted open wider, and the intruder stepped inside with a hunter's calm. His boots whispered against the marble floor as if he already owned the palace again. The air grew tight, like even the walls were holding their breath. Catherine hugged Olivia behind her, shielding her like a lioness guarding her cub. Olivia's tiny fingers dug into her mother's gown, trembling. The The man's gaze slid across the room until it landed on them. "There you are," he said, voice dripping like oil. Catherine took a step back. "Leave my daughter alone," he smirked. "Oh, Catherine, always brave at the wrong moment." Olivia suddenly straightened, fear twisting into something sharper. Her small voice cut through the silence. "You're not supposed to be here." The man paused. His smile cracked. "You remember me," he murmured. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes, but she stood taller. "You were the man that hurt the puppies." Catherine's heart almost burst, so that was what Olivia remembered. The truth softened into a memory her mind could handle. The man laughed darkly. "Oh, little one, that was only the beginning." Olivia pressed her palms against her temples, squeezing her eyes shut. "No, I remember more." Flashbacks flickered through her mind like lightning. His hand reaching toward her nursery crib, her scream, guards bursting in, her mother's desperate cry, his furious promise, "I'll come back for her." The memory slammed into her so hard she staggered. Catherine knelt beside her. "Olivia, don't force yourself. I've got you, darling." The man tilted his head. "She's not the only one who remembers. The Duke tried to bury everything, even fired me without a report. To avoid scandal." His voice sharpened into a snarl. "He took everything from me. So now I'll take everything from him." He took another step forward. Suddenly, bang! The palace alarm screeched to life. Red lights pulsed along the ceiling. Security doors slammed shut like metal jaws. Richard's voice boomed through a speaker. "Step away from them, now!" Armed guards rushed from the corridors like a wave of thunder. The intruder spun, cornered, his confidence cracking. He grabbed a vase and hurled it at the nearest guard, twisting toward the staircase. Olivia's breath hitched. "He's going to escape." "No, he won't," Richard shouted as he appeared from a side entrance, a determined storm behind his eyes. The intruder sprinted up the stairs. Richard followed. Catherine lifted Olivia into her arms as the soldiers surrounded them. "You're safe, my love," she whispered, even though her heartbeat hammered like war drums. Far above them, boots pounded across the top floor. Richard's furious voice echoed, "This ends tonight." The chase had begun. The final confrontation awaited. The Duke raced home through the storm. Olivia remembered everything. The intruder had nothing left to lose. The door creaked open, and the intruder stepped into the grand hall like a nightmare returning home. Olivia's heart thudded against her ribs, yet she stood bravely behind her mother. "You shouldn't be here," Catherine warned, voice trembling but fierce. The man's eyes gleamed with bitter joy. "I was cast out of this palace, and tonight I will collect what I am owed." He took a step toward them. Olivia suddenly grabbed her mother's hand tighter. Her voice shook, but she spoke. "You hurt the puppies in the garden, and you tried to hurt me too." The intruder froze. His smugness flickered. "So the little princess remembers," he hissed. Olivia nodded, tears in her eyes. "You were mean. Daddy fired you so you wouldn't hurt anyone again." The man snarled. "And now I hurt him through you." He lunged. Catherine shielded her daughter, ready to fight with nothing but love in her hands. Then the palace alarms exploded into sound. Red lights flashed. Security stormed in like a tidal wave of steel. The intruder whirled, trapped. Richard sprinted forward, pushing a guard aside. "Not this time," he barked. The man tried to run, but guards tackled him to the polished floor. His screams echoed as they dragged him away, his fury melting into defeat. Catherine fell to her knees, holding Olivia tight, both shaking, both safe. Moments later, the palace doors burst open again. The Duke ran in, soaked from rain, fear stamped across his face. "Olivia!" he cried. She leaped into his arms. "I told you not to go out, Daddy," she whispered. He hugged her even tighter. "You saved me, and yourself." His voice cracked with pride and shame. "I am so sorry. I should have listened to you," he said, eyes watery. Olivia smiled, her 9-year-old innocence blooming again. "You listen next time, okay?" The Duke kissed her forehead. "Next time, I promise." Catherine stood and joined them, her heart finally breathing again. Richard watched proudly too, happy his message arrived in time. The nightmare was over. The palace, once shivering in fear, felt warm again. A family, shaken yet stronger, walked together into a safer tomorrow. Olivia looked up at her father and whispered the last words of the night. "Daddy, no more secrets." And the Duke nodded. He finally understood. Betrayal feels like a knife that smiles first. It doesn't storm into your life wearing a villain's mask. It knocks gently, using a familiar hand you once trusted. The hug you believed in suddenly becomes a cage. The voice that once brought comfort turns sharp enough to slice your hope in half. The cruelest part is not the pain, it's the disbelief. You search their eyes for the person you loved, the friend you defended, the heart you thought beat like yours. Every memory becomes a question mark. Every promise turns into a ghost. The end. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.